But I also just say that if I die, you can just miss me with this kind of a funeral. I'm good. No, thank you. I'm good. I'm really good at the birch, the hats, and the geofencing funeral. Thank you very much. This absurd lawsuit from Brian Harpole, the internet recognizing, looking up now and paying attention that there are these bizarre connections between everyone. This is going to shine a negative light of attention on Harmeet Dillon, because this is her law firm, right? Dillon Law Group is Harmeet Dillon's law firm. She currently works for the Department of Justice. She left her firm, obviously, to go fill this position, and I think transferred the stake in the company to her brother while she's currently serving in the Department of Justice. She's serving as the Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division. She's also the front runner to replace Pam Bondi for Attorney General of the United States. That's a big position. People are wondering, Trump signaling lawsuits, Erica, sue. What's going on here? Why does this all feel a little bit incestuous, right? Pam Bondi, just to be clear, had become to the American people virtually synonymous with corruption for Israel, right? Regarding the Epstein files, we've hated her since she gaslit us about the files. She lied to us about the files, the binder of the files. What is your priority, Pam Bondi? Who are you protecting? Why does it feel like it's the nation state of Israel? And while I can, just to be clear, Harmeet Dillon's firm has never been accused or charged with any corruption related to Israel, but her law firm is heavily involved in a lot of legal issues on behalf of Israel, right? For example, there was a recent company that made waves, which we hadn't covered on this show, which registered rightfully under FARA. Big deal. Israel never wants to do that. Rest in peace, JFK. Called Show Faith by Works. Okay, so Show Faith by Works, LLC. If you are not familiar with that company, I'm going to tell you what they are all about. Just 8 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, Show Faith by Works began their contracting registration under FARA. The principal of the company, to be clear, is Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Their stated purpose is to target Christians in the United States with anti-Palestinian and pro-Israel messaging. How? With geofencing. Okay, meaning you go to a public event, you go to church, and they are actually going to put an invisible fence around your phone, which then allows them to hand over your information, to allow people to freely target your phone with searching and messaging. Here's a Times of Israel article about that. This was published in October, and it says Israel to spend up to $4.1 million on a Christian PR campaign in the West. It says the foreign ministry has hired another American firm to run influence operations in the United States, with plans to spend as much as $4.1 million on a marketing campaign aimed at Christians across the western part of the country according to newly filed federal disclosures. The documents filed last week under the FARA Act reveal that Show Faith by Works, LLC, will execute what it bills as the, quote, largest Christian church geofencing campaign in U.S. history. A newly formed company with a San Diego address, Show Faith by Works, is run by Chad Schnitger, a prominent Christian conservative activist in California. The initiative is designed to reach churchgoers with digital ads that are explicitly, quote, pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian, end quote, while dispatching a mobile, quote, October 7th experience to church parking lots. That sounds terrifying. We don't want a mobile October 7th experience. Are you going to kill people? What are you saying? What are you saying? I kid. I hope. I don't want it. Anyways, they're going to do this. It continues. There's going to be an exhibit to Church Park. We don't need to exhibit this. We're actually good. Thank you. Also to Christian colleges, it says. Beware, Christian college. The October 7th experience is coming to a parking lot near you. Okay, sorry, you can scroll back up. I'm going to keep reading that. The initiative is designed to reach. The campaign adds a new prong, to Israel's U.S. communication blitz, complementing a $1.5 million per a month contract for AI-driven social media activity with former Trump campaign strategist Brad Parscale, and a contract with a firm called Bridge Partners to create an influencer network called the Esther Project. The PR blitz was anticipated after the foreign ministry was allocated $150 million in this year's budget for public relations efforts. You got to love it, right? We have to give our tax dollars to Israel so that Israel can spend money to influence us. I don't know. It just feels wrong. It feels wrong. Anyway, you should know that Dillon Law Group filed on behalf of this company. So they are on the FARA paperwork. They're representing them. So Show Faith by Works LLC was initially contracted by Havas Media on September 8th. And then came Charlie's public funeral, described by some people, his wife, as the event of the century. And what do you know that after this, Andrew Colvett announced on the news that at this event of the century, they successfully had geofenced and geotagged everyone who went there to mourn Charlie. So really, it was like hats, merch, and some cell phone data, apparently. Take a listen.
The way I'm going to break a little bit of news on your program, Jesse, our partners that do sort of geotagging with devices, they told us that they tracked over 277,000 devices in the vicinity of State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Wow. 277,000.
I just can't believe he thought that was good PR to go up there and just say that. I mean, can I also just say that if I die, you can just miss me with this kind of a funeral. I'm good. No, thank you. I'm good. I'm really good at the birch, the hats, and the geofencing funeral. Thank you very much. Now, I should be clear that we don't know for sure if Andrew Colvett, who happened to actually be sitting with Harmeet Dillon at the recent White House Correspondents' Center shooting, we don't know if Andrew Colvett, he didn't name who he was working with. He didn't name who his partners were. So we don't know if it was Show Faith by Works. But the timing of this is definitely interesting. And we should actually maybe try to find out, right? In their FARA docs, they specifically note that they are going to be doing that geofencing and targeting in Tucson, Phoenix, and Las Vegas. So that is right in the Turning Point hub. There's a lot of smoke here. I'd be willing to bet there's some fire. And maybe if you were one of the lucky ones who got to attend this event of the century, you might be able to work to find out by contacting Turning Point and saying, actually, who was your partners that were geofencing us? Maybe it's on a ticket stub. I would imagine they would have had to disclose it. I'm not sure entirely. But it would be know who their partners are. I didn't know Turning Point was doing this. I actually thought they were like a 501c3 charity that was not engaged in this at all. So I do want to give a special shout out to Twitter user Gen X Girl, because she has done a fantastic job influencing that. You can see that she says she's a honey badger that exposes corruption, wars, and foreign influence. And I do think that kind of looking at the piece of what this firm is going to be important. Again, I personally have nothing against Harmeet Dillon. I do think that there are some interesting ties that bind when it comes to her particular firm. And since she is in contest to become the next attorney general following Pam Bondi, yeah, we should understand what's actually going on here. And that's not even half of it, by the way, in terms of their involvement with some very pro-Israel initiatives. Okay, I just have to read this comment that came in live from Curious Joel. He writes, the mobile October 7th experience also includes the 6-hour stand-down order, so it might take a while to begin. Just be patient. It's going to be a blast. It's like absolutely hilarious. I'm good on the October 7th experience. Can I just say that? And like I said, I would be very surprised if this was not the company that was working with one of the partners of Turning Point USA. Again, because of all the ties they have to one another, because of a location that is explicitly listed, but also in the filing, they named the churches that they're going to be geofencing at. And it just happens to be a lot of these Calvary Chapel churches where these pastors of Turning Point USA are heavily involved in, including the Dream City Church, where Charlie spoke at once a month, whatever the situation was, that they just hosted Erica at in Phoenix, the Dream City Church where they hosted Trump at in Phoenix. That's what I'm referring to. It's on the list. So I feel like where there's smoke, there is likely fire, but I have not personally confirmed that. We will do our best to do that. And of course, if you have any information, as we always say, email us more tips at CandaceOwens.com, and we will keep prodding that narrative, because there's more. There's some weird, there just seems to be a lot of connections here to Israel, and this sense, this anger that they're losing their stranglehold on America, certainly have lost their stranglehold on America, lost the youth. They're now losing above the youth. They're lost millennials. And it seems as though they want to lose every generation with the way that they're acting and the way that they're behaving.